why people don't reach their potential, there's actually a systematic way of reaching your potential. The reason people suffer is because there's no progress. You know, if you think about it, what gives life meaning is progress. You need to move ahead in every area of your life. Whatever area of your life is not progressing becomes depressed. Whether it's finances, romance, the improvement of your children and getting along with life, your athleticism, if you're playing tennis or soccer or whatever. Everything you're doing must progress. Without progress, things rot. It's like a pond in nature. If the water in that pond doesn't move, it starts to become rotten and mosquitoes lay eggs. Therefore, one of the first laws of nature is progress. You have to keep every part of your life moving. The question is, why do we fall into stagnation? The answer is the conditioned mind. The human mind has a tendency to fall into repetitive, circular patterns. Even if you have great habits, even with great habits, the nature of the mind is to fall into grooves and repetitive patterns. So every day you use the same words, have the same thoughts, repeating beliefs, behaviors, and so forth. And through logic we know that if every day you do the same thing, then the result is going to be the same thing. You know, we have some self-development courses and people show up and they're very frustrated. They say, my finances are not improving. And you check into their beliefs, behaviors, and perspectives, and you see that they're doing the same thing every day. And again, the laws of nature say that if you do the same thing every day, then nothing's going to change. Because this is an action-reaction world. In other words, the way I act, nature reacts to my action. If my actions are repetitive, the results are going to be repetitive. If you want to change your life, you must step out of the circle of comfort that you've got. This circle here is the circle of your thoughts, repetitive behaviors, repetitive beliefs, and so forth. You have to come out of this circle for life to change. Now, the question is, why don't we just step out of the circle of our habits every day? Like little children, you know, the reason we love 3-year-olds so much is that they don't really have repetitive habits. They're not stuck. They're very spontaneous. They like routines, but it's very easy for a 3-year-old to step out and experience the freshness of the moment. The reason we don't do it is that the adult mind and the adult ego are, for some reason, really afraid of breaking routine. And nobody's quite figured out why the human mind and ego are so terrified of breaking routine. So when you get people into a course, you actually have to systematically take them down this road and prove to them that if you hug your child today, whereas you have not the past 6 months, that hugging this child involves no danger to you. So you see, for some silly reason, your conditioned mind, the ego, thinks that there's danger and threat in doing something different from the routine. And in all of humanity, nobody's figured out why the mind thinks this is so dangerous, but it does. And therefore, if you want to experience potential, you have no choice but to break up the repetitive thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors. You have no choice but to step out of your comfort zone, basically. We call it the zone of comfort. That's what we call it. There are other reasons why people don't experience their high potential. One of them is just a losing mentality. Some people have been conditioned to think of, what if I fail? Sometimes you watch tennis players get uptight in a match. and then something goes on in the mind. It says, what if I hit the ball into the net? And it happens in business. You see a competitor opening a store across the street, and your mind gets into, what if that competitor steals my clients? It's a losing mentality. And of course, because your mind guides your life, the moment you get scared of that competitor, you start implementing a self-fulfilling prophecy, because your focus goes to the competitor instead of offering excellent services to your current clients. So I mentioned one reason for falling into a rut is the conditioned mind that keeps doing the same thing. The other is the losing mentality. What if I lose? What if I hit the ball into the net? And then other people have just never seen the possibility of a higher potential. If we think of the example of Harlem, New York City, Harlem, 1979. 1979 Harlem, a lot of people have never seen a Rolls Royce, they've never heard of Princeton or Harvard University, and they haven't heard of investment banking. What they used to see in the neighborhood is good basketball. So the way to salvation and millions of dollars is basketball. Some people from Department of Education went to Harlem and said, how come these people are not thinking of Harvard? It's like, come on, man. Where are they going to see any signs of a Rolls Royce or Harlem or a penthouse? Now Harlem is totally different. There's been a lot of renovations done in New York City. So what I'm saying is, one other reason for not tapping into your potential is that you've never even seen anything beyond a certain boundary. This is why visualization is really important. I encourage you daily, visualize a better life. Visualize a higher life. Visualize that you already have a higher self breathing under your skin. This is really important. This technique is called constructive questioning. Here's the way the technique goes. I wonder if there's a higher self already breathing under my skin. I wonder what is the name of the client who's going to increase my sales 25% this year. It's a constructive question. I wonder where my next job lies right now. I wonder where my soulmate is within this city, this month. It's a constructive question. It gets the subconscious mind to start interrogating. And the subconscious doesn't stop. Once you plant the question, the subconscious goes on even while you're sleeping. Technique of visualizing greater things, technique of constructive questions. Plant those questions in your mind, and your subconscious will continue learning. Another reason why people don't achieve their potential is called low self-worth. Everybody sees how great you are except yourself. It's a kind of blindness. I would say the majority of the world has some degree of blindness in terms of their own worth. Very, very few people are operating at maximum potential. They either don't know that they're attractive, they don't know that they have sports skills, they don't know that they have higher income potential, so forth and so on. Low self-worth basically comes from one place. When you were children, you used to look into the mirror of your parents' eyes. So you're 3 years old, you walk to the breakfast table. If you see, "Good morning, my darling," that welcomes you to the world. If you saw that your parents were very interested in your being, then you would have self-worth. The problem is, most of our parents were raised by other people who didn't have much self-worth, or who had no clue about child psychology. Anyways, if your self-worth is lacking, the root of it comes from one place. Between birth and the age of 7, when you looked in your parents' eyes, you didn't see an unconditional, totally accepting smile of who you were. They may have been kind, but what you saw in the mirror of their eyes was not giving you a great self-concept. Here we go to the next topic. Children have no sense of self. A 3-year-old doesn't know that she's cute. She looks into your eyes to see if she's cute and funny. This is why little children turn to you so often. They're constantly seeking you out. Even if they run out in the yard to get some freedom, then they turn back to see if mama's there. They're constantly checking back with the adult. It's because their entire sense of self comes from your feedback to them. You know, this places a huge responsibility on your shoulders because you have to welcome them into the world. And then for you that might be painful because maybe nobody welcomed you to the world. Now you have this cute little child who can't get enough of attention. And sometimes you've had too much of it because you didn't get that nourishment yourself. A lot of parents get very emotional when they watch their own children growing because they're reminded of their own childhood. It's up to you right now to learn these types of facts, learn these techniques so that the next generation comes out to be healthy. So now you know the importance of the mirror of the parent's eyes. Constructive questioning, ask yourself daily, is there a higher version of me already available or not? I would say when the child does not see that beautiful image of herself in the parent's eyes, the lie that comes up in the child's mind is, there must be something wrong with me if mama is not happy to see me. That's the lie. The little child has no sense of self. So when you don't smile and welcome them to the breakfast table, they come up with shame. It's like, if mama's unhappy with me, there must be something wrong with me. That creates a sense of shame. It shames the child. So here we're not talking about discipline. When they need discipline, deliver it. But say to them, I love you, but I don't love what you just did. Say, I love you, but I don't love what you just did. That way you don't deliver shame to them. Finally, anytime you're not tapping into new potential, there's fear. And I'll tell you what the 3 illusions are about not going for higher potential. The first illusion is, I'm comfortable where I am at, I don't want to rock the boat, things are okay enough. That's the first illusion. The second illusion is, any kind of change is going to entail tremendous hardship, tremendous energy, and it's going to take years and years for my relationship to improve, for my finances to improve, and so forth. So the second illusion is that it's going to take a very long journey to change. And that's not necessarily the case. People sometimes have a very quick insight about the fact that they are quite worthwhile and they're the only one who doesn't see their own worth. I've seen this happen in one evening where suddenly the light bulb goes on and the person realizes that I must be attractive because here are 3 people who are attracted to me. It's a moment of waking up. That's what it is. So it's not necessarily a 10-year journey for your self-worth to go up. Finally, the last illusion is that what if I make all this effort and I start changing myself and I get to a new destination, to a happier life, and then I realize that I used to be happier before I started working on myself. And that's an illusion. You know, 99% of the time, if you make the effort to do a positive change in your life and you arrive at that next happier place, you're not going to be sorry that you're at that happier place. So these were some reasons why people don't tap into maximum potential. Low self-worth, which comes from the mirror of the parent's eyes. Sometimes you haven't seen a great university, you haven't seen a penthouse. So those types of horizons, you've never had a direct experience of them. So somehow you've got to see a better life. You've got to see a better automobile, and that ignites something. Another is just a losing thought. You know, you have a loser mind. The mind is thinking about losing. And that you fix with affirmations, repetitive positive statements, and positive visualizations. And finally, there's this human mind and human ego that think that if I come out of this tiny circle of habits, outside of this circle, there's some danger threatening me. And what you'll find is every time you step outside of your dry, stagnated habits, you experience a very exhilarating moment, and you grow, and you find a higher self. Final reason, you are not sure that at this point there's a higher person, a higher self, a higher version of you already breathing under your skin, waiting to be let out. If you had 10% certainty right now that a higher self is already breathing under your skin, you would go for it. If you're not going for it, you're not sure. In any case, we'll have other talks. God bless you, and we'll talk very soon.